Hi, everyone. My name is Miss Jai, and I am a nutrition health educator for the Detroit Healthy Youth Initiative program at Wayne State University, and I am here to bring you linking lessons. What linking lessons are basically a structured platform for us to teach you all how to eat healthy and live a healthy lifestyle. Okay, and so we'll be doing different types of. It will be a series of lessons ranging from all different types of topics. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to get started with our first lesson of our linking lessons, and that is my plate. Okay, so let's get started. What is my plate, or choose my plate? This is exactly what it looks like, but this is an icon for healthy eating for Americans. Okay, you can see that on the slide that the plate is a circle, okay, and that the food groups basically form a circle or a pie, and that you'll also notice that some of the parts of the circle are larger than others. What this means is that the larger parts are the foods that we should want to eat more of. Okay, good. All right. And basically, my plate basically shows us that we should want to eat a variety of foods and that we should always be eating from all food groups. Okay. So with that being said, let's get started with our first food group, which is vegetables. All right. And the main part about what Choose My Plate wants you all to know is that you want to vary your vegetables. Okay. You want to eat different vegetables so that you can get a variety of vitamins and minerals. You could choose from fresh vegetables, frozen vegetables, you got canned vegetables, or you can get them dried as well. I have an example here. If you look at the slide, that peas is a great example. You can get peas in the can. You can also get peas fresh, and you can also get them frozen. Okay. We want you to understand that it doesn't matter how in what state that you get your vegetables in. We just want you to get a variety of those types of vegetables. Okay. And so with that being said, I want you all to sit here. I'm going to give you guys about a minute, and I want you all to think about what are your top 3 favorite vegetables. And then we're going to come back and we're going to share. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys 1 minute, and starting now. Okay. It's been about a minute. Did everybody think of their vegetables that their favorite vegetables? If you did, good. I want you can jot them down. You can share with your family, your friends around you. I'm going to share mine with you all. And my top 3 favorite vegetables are spinach, zucchini, and cauliflower. Those are Miss Jai's 3 favorites. And if you notice, those are all 3 different types of vegetables. There are a plethora of other vegetables that I like to eat, but those are my top 3. And it's like I said, and the point here is that we want you guys to understand that that it's important to eat different vegetables because they all provide something totally different that benefits your body. Okay. And a fun thing is that even if you don't want to think about, vegetables like, okay, I gotta eat different vegetables, you can look at it as this. We call it eat the rainbow. And we eat the rainbow is basically you're focusing on the colors of the vegetables instead of the actual vegetable itself. So if you say, okay, I'm gonna make sure I eat a red vegetable today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna eat an orange vegetable, and then the next day I'm gonna eat a yellow vegetable. Thinking of it that way is also an easier way to kind of say, hey, let me make sure I get my variety of vegetables in there. Okay? Makes sense? All right, so let's move on to our next food group, which is fruit. Yes. Now, with fruit, we want you to focus on whole fruits, okay? Fruits have a lot of different benefits, just like vegetables. That's why they kind of go hand in hand, Okay, we ask that you eat fruit every single day. It's recommended that you get 2 cups per day. Okay, and you can choose whole or cut up fruits. But we ask that but it's recommended that you choose whole fruits over fruit juice. If you notice that a lot of the fruit juices that we tend to consume aren't 100% fruit juice. They're usually juice cocktails, which contains probably only 2% real juice and things like that. So we want to make sure that to get that fruit intake and to get what we need, that we're eating whole fruit, or even if you want to cut some fruit up, like you see on the slide, you can do that. Fruits are also versatile, which is really cool because they can go into many different things, and you can incorporate them into your diet very easily. So here are some examples how fruits can be used as a healthy snack option, right? They're rich in nutrients and they're low in calories. And as you see here, we on the slide that we have like a fruit kebab. So this is something that you can do, real nice, fun, easy snack, right? Fruits can also be used in salads. Miss Jai loves to use her use fruit in salads. They provide extra flavor and they give the salad color, right? They bring color to our plates. So this is another example of how you can incorporate fruits into your diet. And then, of course, they can be eaten as desserts, which is the really cool part, is because fruits are naturally what? Sweet. They have natural sugars, and it's really good, so that way you can eat them as a dessert if you just want something sweet, right? And then they also provide more nutrients than any other, dessert pastry or some type of dessert item like that. Okay, it's a healthier option. So those are just some things to think about when you're eating fruit. Okay, because like I said, versatile, being able to incorporate it into your diet. And so with that being said, I want to know what you all's favorite fruits are. So what you're going to do is I'm going to take another minute, and I just want you to sit and jot down your top 3 favorite fruits. Ms. Jai's going to think as well, and then when we come back, we'll share, or I'll share with you all. Okay? Are you ready? Set, go. Okay, so I hope everybody was able to jot down their top 3 favorite fruits. Like I said, you can share them amongst just with yourself, or you can share them amongst your peers or your friends or your family, or whatever you would like to do. Like I said, Miss Jai is going to share hers with you all. And my 3 favorite I was about to say vegetables. My 3 favorite fruits are apples. I love apples, specifically pink ladies. So when we get back in school and y'all like, oh, Miss Jai, we missed you, hit me up with a bag of pink lady apples. I would love that. Also, strawberries. I love strawberries and cherries. Not the like restaurant cherries, like the real cherries that you get from like the fruit market with the seed inside. So those are my 3 favorite fruits. And as you can see, like they're whole. Those are all fruits that you can eat whole, or you want to cut them up, or things like that that can be real versatile. So the point here is that that it is important that we make sure that we are eating fruit every single day, at least 2 cups, and also that we choose whole fruit instead of juice. Okay? All right, let's move on to our next food group. That is dairy, okay? And here, Choose MyPlate wants us to basically move to low fat or fat free milk, yogurt, and dairy options, okay? As teens, you guys don't get enough milk, cheese, or yogurt to get that calorie intake, those amount of calorie, I said calorie intake, the calcium intake that you need. So that's why it's very important that you should want to consume, when we do decide to consume dairy, that we do a low fat or a fat-free dairy option. It's important because they have the same amount of calcium and other essential nutrients, but it has less fat and less calories. Okay. So like I said, you're still getting the same benefits, but you're getting it with fewer calories and fewer fat. Okay. Real simple, real easy. Okay. All right. Moving on to our next food group. It's protein, right? All right. And here we want to vary our protein routine. Okay. Most people in America get too much protein, right? How many people are guilty of having that double, triple burger, or having a 12-ounce, 16-ounce steak, or having a huge, prime rib or something like that? Usually we're conditioned to believe that our protein should be half our plate, should be our biggest portion on our plate to make us full, when all actuality, vegetables, right? Vegetables should be our biggest portion on our plate. Okay. Like I said, but here we want to vary our protein routine. So you can choose a variety of foods, like non-meat options, like eggs and beans and peas and nuts, right? So those are different options that we can do. Also, there are some seafood options as well, like fish and tuna and things, that are also, that aren't actual meat and poultry options. But like I said, choosing a non-meat option like eggs, beans, and things like that, those are still high in protein, but you're getting you're just switching it up, getting a different variety, right? Now, if you're going to eat meat, we want to make sure that we keep our meat and our poultry portions small and lean, right? We want to avoid those fatty foods. If everybody can do me a favor, right? Put your palm in the air. Does everybody have their palm in the air, right? Do everybody see the size of their palm? The size of your palm is the amount, is the size that your portion should be for protein. Your protein portion should be the same size as your palm. And I know some of you guys are looking like, Miss Jai, that is a small burger, or Miss Jai, that's a small steak. It may seem small, however, but we're conditioned to believe that it should be supersized. It should be way bigger than that. When all actuality, our protein portion should be the size of our palm, okay? And then your vegetables and your fruits and your whole grain portions should be way bigger, okay? Right? All right. And then, as I said before, we want to avoid fatty foods, and we also want to avoid the fried meats, right? I understand we love to fry some food, but it's important that we try to stay, that we don't always fry our food, that we are using different methods of cooking, right? Because what happens is when we fry food, what do we fry it in? Oil, right? And what is another word for oil? Fat. Okay. And so what happens is that when we take our meat and we submerge our meat in oil, we're basically submerging it and covering it in fat. And then we're gonna consume that excess fat. And then guess what our bodies do with fat? Yes, correct. They store fat. Okay. And they usually, and our bodies usually store it in places in the unwanted places that we don't want, like here in your belly, in your back. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are using other alternative cooking methods. Okay, so, and I actually have some examples on the next slide. As you can see, these are some other alternative cooking methods. Instead of just frying everything, right? You can saute, you can bake. Baking is easy. You can roast, you can broil, you can grill, poach, braise, stew. There are so many other cooking methods than just frying everything, okay? So we want to make sure that we are definitely, that we are switching it up, okay? So let's aim to vary our protein routine, okay? Let's switch it up. We want to make sure that we're not always eating something fried, okay? That we choose a non-meat option, like maybe eggs or beans or peas or nuts or something like that, right? And that, once again, that we avoid the fatty and the fried foods. Switch it up with the cooking methods. Try something different. Don't just always fry chicken. Don't just always fry pork chop. Don't just always fry something, right? Let's not always submerge our food in fat. Let's try to pick another option to cook our food so that way it doesn't add excess fat to our meal. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to our last food group, which is grains, right? And here we want to make half our grains whole grains, okay? So with that being said, let's talk about what is exactly whole grains, okay? What's the difference between whole grain and refined grains, okay? What's the difference between whole wheat bread and white bread? What's this between whole wheat pasta and enriched pasta? Okay, so basically I'm kind of giving y'all some examples of what I mean when I say what we're used to eating, like white bread and regular pasta that you buy and things like that, versus actually whole grain options. Okay, so if we're looking at this slide, right, if y'all follow along with me, looking at this slide, whole grain and refined grains look pretty different, right? The whole grain has what we call a bran, and the bran is the fiber-filled outer layer with B vitamins and minerals, okay? Then it has what we call the endosperm, and the endosperm is a starchy carbohydrate middle layer with some protein and some vitamins, okay? And then it has what we call the germ. And the germ is a nutrient-packed core. Say that one more time. A nutrient-packed core with B vitamins, vitamin E, phytochemicals, and healthy fats. Okay? Now, a refined grain is just made up of the endosperm, which is once again a starchy carbohydrate middle layer with some proteins and vitamins. Okay? And so what happens is that manufacturers, basically the things that we usually consume if it's not whole grain, is a refined grain. And what it is that the bran and the germ are taken out. And then all that's left is the endosperm. Okay? And so we want to make sure that we are consuming whole grains over refined grains, because whole grains have the what? Fiber-filled outer layer. And it also has the nutrient-packed core, right? So the stuff that we need, our fiber and our nutrients, are in whole grains and not refined grains, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And so as I said before, we want to choose 100% whole grains, all right? The typical American diet has only 16 grams of fiber. When it has 16 grams of fiber. However, the recommended amount is at least 25 to 38 grams of fiber, okay? And so we want to make sure that we're choosing whole grains, because the more grams of fiber it has in the product, the more whole grain it is, or it has, okay? And so that's why we say we want to, choose whole grains, because they're going to be high in fiber, all right? And if you want to know if it's a whole grain or not, you can just check the ingredient list on the back of the label, and you'll be able to see that. So on the back of the label, the ingredients list, if the first word does not say whole, then it is not a whole grain, okay? Does that make sense? All right, so let's keep it going. So what are some other examples of whole grains, right? I know I kind of named a couple, but let's go over some more. So you got whole grain bread, right? You can do whole grain buns, whole grain cereal. We got whole grain tortillas. Yes, they have whole grain tortillas, whole grain pasta. Even if I put a fun fact on here, that popcorn is actually a whole grain, and it's a healthy snack, okay? So as long as you don't add all your butter and your hot sauce and salt and all that stuff, then you'll be you'll keep it healthy, okay? But as I said before, whole grains, these are some other examples. So you can take some of the things that you eat on a regular basis, like bread, something simple like bread or cereal, and switch to whole grains, and you're already, taking a really big step and towards living a healthy lifestyle. Because as I said before, whole grains are good for you because they are high in fiber, right? And we need to get that recommended amount of fiber in our diets, because we usually don't. Okay. And remember, fiber is good for us. Why? Because fiber regulates our digestive system. And for those who did not know, is that fiber actually keeps us fuller longer. Okay. So just thinking about those things, like if we have a high fiber diet, or we eat foods that are high in fiber, like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, then we actually may stay fuller longer throughout the day and not try to snack and overeat and things like that. Okay? We good with that? All right. So I said before, choose my plate. This is a really it's a nationwide campaign, and it basically shows us that we should be eating a variety of foods throughout the entire food groups, or throughout all food groups. We should be eating and consuming a lot of our foods. We should make sure that we definitely eat our vegetables. We should vary our vegetables, have a variety of vegetables in our diets, because vegetables provide us with a lot of different vitamins and minerals. So we have to make sure that we're getting all that we need from all of our vegetables. Okay, same thing with fruits. We want to focus on whole fruits. Fruits are versatile. They can be used in many different dishes, and they can be used in many different ways to consume, so you can consume them. Okay, so you want to make sure that we're eating at least 2 cups of fruit a day. Okay, and that we're choosing whole fruits instead of fruit juice, right? And then, of course, with our dairy products, we want to make sure that we move to low fat or fat free options, because guess what? You get the same benefits, you get the same essential nutrients, but you're getting less calories and less fat. And then, of course, with our protein, we want to make sure that we are varying our protein routine. Okay, we want to make sure that we switch it up, because people get too much protein and eat too much meat. So we want to switch it up. We can choose a non-meat option like eggs or beans or nuts and things like that. And if we do decide to eat meat, that we try to avoid the fatty foods and the fried meats as well. Okay. And then, of course, last but not least, our whole grains. We want to make sure that we make half our grains whole grains, because whole grains are the best. Okay. They provide us with a lot of fiber, and we need that recommended amount of fiber, which is about 25 to 38 grams of fiber a day. Okay. Are we good with that? All right, cool. So I have some healthy homework for you all. Okay, what I want you all to do is have at least one meal with all 5 food groups. Okay, so this is a challenge for you all to get creative and to really sit and think like, how can I incorporate all 5 food groups? And it's actually not that hard, because when you think about it, a lot of things we use, we eat at least maybe 3 out of the 5 food groups all the time in our meals anyway. So get creative and just try to figure out how you can incorporate all 5 food groups into one meal. Okay? Are we good with that?